Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome back to Math Zone African Motives. We are back at it again. We are looking into grade 11, term 4. We want to look into term 4 topics for grade 11, which you would see that when you are in term 4, you are only going to be doing chemistry, except if maybe your school is using a different syllabus. But as according to the ATP, the annual teaching plan from the Department of Education, term 4 you're supposed to be doing chemistry. So our video series will be broken down into three videos. The first one would be to do with introduction to what we refer to as types of reaction, specifically focusing on redox reactions. So in this lesson, we are going to be introducing and defining what an oxidation state is, and then thereafter we apply the knowledge of oxidation state in our redox reactions. So in our next lesson, that's when we are going to be diving deep into redox reactions. Then thereafter, we are going to do a final lesson that is application of these redox reactions. Where do we apply them? Like for example, in mineral processing, in processing your gold, we actually get to apply our redox reaction in purifying that gold. So without wasting time, let's get right into our lesson one. So by the end of this lesson, we should be able to explain what an oxidation number is. After that, we should be able to assign oxidation numbers to atoms in various ions and molecules. Like for example, if you're given water, if you're given methane, if you're given carbon dioxide, you are supposed to assign oxidation numbers to hydrogen atoms, oxygen atoms within this molecule. If also it's an ion or else it's a compound, we are supposed to be able to assign oxidation numbers to those. So what is it that we call an oxidation number? Let's define an oxidation number. So you will see that according to the definition that is given to your within your books, an oxidation number is the charge an atom would have if it were in a compound composed of ions. Or else, let's get to say that if that compound, we get to assume that it is made of ionic bonds. So the charge that we get to assign to each atom, that is what we refer to as the oxidation number. For example, let's say that we have got our water. You would get to see that within our water, we've got hydrogen atoms, we've got oxygen atoms. So if we are to assume that this molecule is made of ions, what would be the charge of hydrogen? What would be the charge of oxygen? So you will see that the charge of hydrogen will be a positive 1. The charge of oxygen atoms would be a negative 2. And then by having a positive 1, if we multiply by the 2 here, because we've got 2 hydrogen atoms, you would get a charge of what? You would get a charge of positive 2. Positive 2 and negative 2, they will give you 0. So at the end of the day, this molecule, its overall oxidation number would be equal to 0. But for each atom, hydrogen would be having a charge of positive 1. That would be its oxidation number. So it would be having an oxidation number of positive 1. For oxygen, it would be having an oxidation number of negative 2. So that is what we are saying, that an oxidation number refers to the charge that we would assign to an atom in a compound, which we are saying that let's assume that that compound is made of what? Of ions. So there are rules that we use when we are assigning oxidation numbers to what? To atoms, molecules, or ions. And those rules are the ones that are going to guide us as we go forward. So let's look into rule number 1. So there are 6 rules that we are going to look into, and those are the rules that we are going to be using as we go forward. So the first rule talks about a molecule consisting of only one element. This is a monoatomic element. Always has an oxidation number of 0. Like, for example, let's say that you have got sodium as it is like this, or neon, or else carbon written like this. You know that the oxidation number here is zero. Or else, if you have got a hydrogen molecule that is composed of what? Of two hydrogen atoms. Because this molecule is made of the same what? Of the same element. We know that its oxidation state is going to be zero, or else its oxidation number is going to be what? It's going to be zero. That is what our rule is saying, that the oxidation number, when an atom exists as an element like this, when it exists as just sodium, neon, and carbon, the oxidation number there is zero. And then when a molecule consists only of one element, like for example, we've got hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, they consist of only one element, or else only one type of atoms. The oxidation number there is also going to be what? To be zero. That's our first rule. And then our rule number 2 says that for monoatomic ions, now look at the difference. We were looking at monoatomic molecules, where we are saying that we only have got the same atoms within a what? Within a molecule. That's when the oxidation number gets to be zero. But once we start having ions, what happens? So we are saying that monoatomic ions, or ions with only one element or type of atom, have an oxidation number that is equal to the charge on the ion. So as long as you have got charged ions, the oxidation number becomes equal to that charge. For example, when you have got your sodium like this, you saw that on our first rule, we had sodium as just an element. It was not carrying any charge. You know that its oxidation state is what? It's zero. But once it starts carrying a charge, like here, a positive, this positive means that its oxidation state is positive 1. If you have got chlorine like this, we saw that when chlorine is a molecule like that, its oxidation state was what? Was 0, according to rule number 1. But when chlorine starts carrying a charge, which is a negative, its oxidation state or oxidation number becomes a negative 1. That is what rule number 2 is saying. That whenever we have got monoatomic ions, ions with only one element or type of atom, their oxidation number is equal to the charge on the ion. Rule number 3 says that in a molecule or compound, now we are back to molecules or compounds, the sum of the oxidation numbers for each element in the molecule or compound would be zero. We agreed that when we have got hydrogen like this, its oxidation number is equal to what? To zero. And then we agreed that also when we have got water like this, or else rule number 3 is now saying that when we have got water like this one is also a molecule. Its oxidation number has to be equal to 0, meaning to say that the sum of oxidation numbers for each element, or else for each atom, their sum, they have to account to what? To 0, meaning to say that the oxidation number for hydrogen, that is the oxidation number for hydrogen, plus the oxidation number for oxygen, they have to be equal to 0. That is what we are saying. So for example, we have got these examples here where we've got where we've got water. So for water, we are saying that the sum of the oxidation numbers, they have to be equal to 0. So if they are equal to 0, let's look into individual elements or individual atoms. What are their oxidation numbers? So you would see that hydrogen would be carrying a positive 1, and then oxygen will be carrying a negative 1. But here, because we have got two hydrogens, we come and say 2 times what? 2 times positive 1. So that when we add 2 times positive 1 plus a negative 2, they are supposed to be equal to 0. And you can see that this is positive 2 minus 2, they are actually equal to 0. So that is what rule number 3 is saying. Rule number 3 is actually saying that if we have got a molecule or else a compound the sum of the individual oxidation numbers for each element in the molecule or compound is supposed to be equal to what? To zero. Even for methane here, the sum of the oxidation number for carbon atoms as well as for hydrogen atoms, they have to amount to what? To zero. Meaning to say that if I know the oxidation number of hydrogen, which is a positive one, and then I want to look for the oxidation number for carbon, I would actually get to represent the oxidation number for carbon by C. It will actually come to say C plus how many atoms do I have for hydrogen? I've got 4. And then each hydrogen carries what? Plus 1. And they're supposed to amount to 0. So for carbon, I would now get to transpose this to that other side. So carbon would actually be equal to what? So this is actually what? Positive 4. If positive 4 goes the other side of a negative, it becomes what? Negative 4. From our mathematics, when we are solving algebra. So you get to say that carbon will now have what? Negative 4. So that at the end of the day, the sum or else the overall oxidation number within this compound has to be equal to 0. That is what rule number 3 is saying. That if you're having a molecule or compound, the sum of the oxidation numbers for each element in that molecule or compound has to be equal to 0. Same as for carbon dioxide. Let's look at rule number 4. Now we are saying in a polyatomic ion, remember we have looked into monoatomic what? Atomic ions, where we say that the oxidation number is equal to the charge of each element. Charge of each what? Element. But now we are now looking into into poly, sorry. What does mono means? Mono means we have got one atom. That is what monoatomic means. When we say polyatomic, we have got many atoms. So there is a difference when we have got one atom and when we have got what? Many atoms within that compound. So we are saying that when we have got many atomic ion, let's say that when our ion is made up of what? Of many atoms, what would be the oxidation number? So we are saying that in a polyatomic ion, the sum of the oxidation numbers is equal to the charge that is being carried by that polyatomic ion. For example, we have got a sulfate ion. So you would see that sulfate ions are made up of many atoms. We've got sulfur ions, we've got oxygen ions, sorry. So we are now saying that their overall charge is equal to what? To this charge that their overall oxidation number is equal to this charge that they're carrying. So this is where now we are saying that the sum of the oxidation numbers for the elements in the sulfate ion will be equal to -2. It will be equal to -2. That is what rule number 4 is saying. Even for example, where we have got manganate like this, it simply means that the sum of the oxidation numbers here, they are supposed to be equal to -1. They are supposed to be equal to what? To -1. Even for nitrate ions like this, the sum of the oxidation number is supposed to be equal to what? -1. What do we mean by the sum? We are saying that, for example, here, we are saying that the oxidation number for sulfur plus the oxidation number for oxygen atoms, these ones, they are supposed to be equal to what? To this -2. Even here, the oxidation number for your manganese, the oxidation number for your manganese, you add with the oxidation number for your oxygen atoms, they are supposed to equal to what? To -1. So that is what that rule is saying. So that is how you apply this rule. That is rule number 4, which is saying that when we are having a polyatomic ion, the sum of the oxidation numbers is equal to the charge. Now let's go to rule number 5 and 6. So rule number 5 and 6 has to do with oxygen and hydrogen. So we would actually get to know that by rule, an oxidation atom usually has an oxidation number of -2. By rule, it has to have an oxidation number of what? Of -2. But there are some exceptions. Like for example, one exception is in peroxides. When oxygen bonds with hydrogen to form hydrogen peroxide, which is H2O2, oxygen carries an oxidation number of -1. That is an exception that rule number 5 is bringing to say that we know that if we go back to our bonding, our chemical bonding, where we have got ionic bonding, we know that the valence electrons, or else the valence number of oxygen, would actually get to tell you that we are in deficiency of what? Of 2 electrons. When we say we are in deficiency of 2 electrons, it simply means that if we use Lewis orbital rule, we would be having an oxygen atom having its outer shell like this, meaning to say that it has got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 outer electrons. For it to gain a stable state, it has to receive it has to receive 2 electrons like that. So it is in deficiency of 2 electrons. So when it receives those 2 electrons, it now gains a what? A charge of what? Of -2, because of those 2 electrons that it would have received. So we know that usually an oxidation number for oxygen atom should be a -2. Where we have got oxygen like this, it has to have a what? An oxidation state of what? Of -2. Because for it to be stable, it has to receive what? 2 electrons. But when oxygen bonds with hydrogen to form peroxides, or else when oxygen is in peroxides, it carries an oxidation state of -1. It carries an oxidation state of what? -1. That is what rule number 5 is saying. Those are exceptions. So by rule number 5, you would know that whenever oxygen is in peroxides, it will be carrying an oxidation state of what? Of -1, which is unusual. But that is the exception rule there. And then the other rule has to do with hydrogen. We know that hydrogen comes from what? From group 1. And because of that, it usually have an outer shell that is carrying what? 1 valence electron. So when it actually gets to lose that electron, that is when it remains as just in a hydrogen atom like that. So it will be carrying a charge of what? Of +1, which symbolizes that it has lost in what? An electron. So when it bonds with oxygen in water, it will be carrying a what? A charge of what? Of +1. Even when it bonds with chlorine here, you would be having what? H plus and Cl minus. Because you know that your hydrogen always carries what? A positive charge, which is just a +1. But however, there is an exception where we are saying that when now hydrogen is bonded to metals instead of what? Of non-metals, because we know that hydrogen is actually a non-metal. But when it is bonded to metals, it now forms what we refer to as what? Metal hydrides. When it now forms metal hydrides, hydrogen will be having an oxidation state of what? Of -1. What does that mean? It means that when hydrogen was having 1 valence electron, it would have now received what? Another electron to actually get to form its what? Its stable state. So we are saying that there is an exception for hydrogen whenever it is bonded to metals to make metal hydride. Hydrogen will be carrying a what? An oxidation state of what? Of -1. For example, lithium hydride, sodium hydride, calcium hydride. Hydrogen is having an oxidation state of what? Of -1, because it behaves as the hydride ion, which is H minus, which would have received what? One electron. So these are the two exceptions for oxygen and hydrogen. So those makes what? Rule number 5 and rule number 6. Now let's see how we apply these rules. So let's check our comprehension if we have understood enough in terms of what? Application of our oxidation numbers. So we have got 3 questions here. The first question has to do with what? It says give the oxidation number of sulfur in sulfate ions. Whilst question number 2 says give the oxidation number of both elements in ammonia. And then the last one has to do with what? Assign the oxidation numbers to all the atoms in sodium chloride. This is sodium chloride. So now let's get to see how we would have done that. So the oxidation numbers in sulfate ions. When we are in sulfate ions, according to our rule, we say that oxygen would be carrying what? It will be carrying a -2, because we can see that sulfur or else sulfite ions are not peroxides. So if we are not in any peroxide, oxygen will be carrying what? -2. And also the other rule said that whenever we've got a polyatomic ion, its total oxidation number has to be equal to what? It has to be equal to the charge, which is -2. So since we know the oxidation number of oxygen, which is by rule if we are not in peroxides, and then we know that the sum of this polyatomic ion oxidation number has to be equal to -1, -2, sorry, we can actually come and say let S represents the oxidation number of what? Of sulfur. So the S is representing the oxidation number of what? Of sulfur there. When we represent the oxidation number of sulfur by S, we now get to say how many atoms do we have for sulfur? We only have got 1. And then how many atoms do we have for oxygen? We have got 4. And then the oxidation number is what? -2. -2 multiplied by 4 will now come to be S plus 4 times -2 is equals to what? -2. And then for us to solve for the what? For us to actually get to solve for this, for us to solve for that, we now get to what? To transpose this to that other side. And then when we transpose it to that other side, we would get to see that this would simply become what? So you would see that if I have got S minus 8 is equals to -2, S would be equal to what? +8 minus 2, which is just equal to +6. So we have just came here and say that the oxidation state for sulfur is S. And then the oxidation state for oxygen, it's -2. But we have got 4 atoms of oxygen. And then the sum of the oxidation state is equal to the charge, which is equal to -2. If that is the case, we now have got S -8 equal to -2. And then from there, we just get to solve algebraically. And then we get what? The oxidation number for sulfur to be equal to what? To +6 there. So that is how you apply your rules. So there is no need of you quoting rule number 1, rule number 2. You just need to understand the rules and be able to apply them when you're solving for whatsoever that they say there. So the answer here was supposed to say that in the sulfate ion, the oxidation number of sulfur is +6. Now let's look at question number 2. For question number 2, we want the oxidation states or else the oxidation numbers for each atom in ammonia. So in ammonia, you get to see that this is a molecule, and we say that whenever we are having molecules, the oxidation number has to amount to what? To 0. But by rule, we say that only when hydrogen is bonded to hydrides, that's when it will be carrying a -1 charge. But whenever it's bonded to any other element, it will be carrying a what? A positive charge. So it will be having an oxidation number of +1. So by rule, hydrogen has got a positive what? +1 oxidation number. And we have got what? Three hydrogen what? Three hydrogen atoms there. And then now for us to calculate for hydrogen, because we already know for nitrogen, we can simply say that let the oxidation number for nitrogen be N. So it will be N plus 3 times +1 has to be equal to 0. And then we come to say that N plus 3 is equal to 0. So for nitrogen, this has to go there. So it will be N is equal to what? To a -3. So this is what they were just saying here, to say that there are 3 hydrogens, so the total will be a +3. And then ammonia is neutral. Ammonia is a molecule. And then according to the rule of molecules and compounds, we say that they have to be equal to what? To 0. So the sum of the oxidation numbers is equal to 0. Let the oxidation state for nitrogen be N. And then for hydrogen now, it will now be what? +3. And then we take this that other side to solve for what? For N. So that we can say that hydrogen has an oxidation number of +1. Why? Because it's not a metal hydride. Ammonia is not a what? A metal hydride. And then if that is the case, we get to go and say that nitrogen now has an oxidation number of what? Of -3. And then for the last question, which was just sodium what? It was simply sodium chloride. Now, for sodium chloride, we are having sodium chloride like that. This compound is neutral, so its total oxidation number has to be 0. So now we now know that sodium comes from what? From group 1. So it will be having a valence of electrons of what? Valence electrons of what? Of 1 electron. So it will donate because it's a metal. You know your ionic bonds where you are having your sodium here, you're having one valence electron, and then you are having your chlorine that will be having what? 7 valence what? Electrons there. So according to Lewis orbital rule, we now get to what? To donate this to that, so that at the end of the day, this would be left with a what? It will be left with a +1 to show that it has donated or lost electrons. And then this one now would be having a Cl minus to show that it is what? It has gained an electron. So here the oxidation number for sodium would just be what? A +1. And then we add this one would be a -1, which is just equal to 0. And that was the first example that we gave of having what? Sodium and chloride ions. So you were just supposed to come and say that sodium has got an oxidation state of what? Of +1. Whilst we are saying that chlorine or chloride would be having an oxidation state of what? Of -1. So that is the end of our first lesson. Let's meet once again in what? In the next videos to come. So now our next lesson would be looking into redox reactions. We get to define what a redox reaction is, and then we start applying the rules of oxidation numbers in identifying what? In identifying redox reactions, and also in defining what an oxidation reaction is, a reduction reaction is, in accordance to what? To oxidation numbers. So thank you guys. Let's meet in our next video.